All right, hello again, everyone. My name is Matt. I'm going to do a cardiovascular exam on our patient here. Before I start anything, I want to make sure I wash my hands, introduce myself to the patient. Hello, my name is Matt. I'm a family nurse practitioner student. I'm going to be doing a cardiovascular exam.
Okay.
Is that going to be all right with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. If you do me a favor, I'll have you take off your shirt so I can take a better look at it.
Okay.
So as he does that, I'm going to start my exam. Just how he's sitting, is he short of breath, anything like that. Seems to be doing well. So I'm just going to take a look for symmetry, make sure he doesn't have any implantations. Looks like he got a little bit of a spot here. Is that from a clavicular trauma?
Yeah, I broke my collarbone.
Okay, perfect. So I can rule that out. Okay, as I go down, I just want to take another look here. Perfect. Everything looks really good. So from there, I'm going to move on. I'm going to take a look at his hands. So you can relax his hand. I just want to look for a little symmetry. I'm looking, make sure he doesn't have any incaving fingernails. Make sure he doesn't have any clubbing, which showed me that he could be short of breath, which he does, and everything looks really good. He doesn't have any pallor. His cap refill, less than 3 seconds on both hands, perfect. Okay, at this point I'm going to check his radial pulse. This side I just want to make sure that it's nice and strong, feel it really well. I have to lift up, make sure he doesn't have any collapsing pulse when I do that. At this point I'm going to check his other, and I can even count respiration, count his pulse there. They're both equal. Again, I'm going to look for a collapsing pulse. They both stayed really strong. Perfect. Okay, from there I'm going to move on to check his throat here. I'm going to look at a couple things. I'm going to look for some jugular vein distension. So I'm going to have him do is take a look over into the corner here. With my transverse light, I can see his jugular vein, but it doesn't have any distension, signifying that he doesn't have any vascular congestion. Okay, Gary, so I'm going to have you look straight ahead, tilt your head up a little bit. At this point, I'm going to palpate his carotid artery. Now, if I do both at the same time, there's a risk for vasovagal response. So I'm just going to do one at a time. Great, that was really strong. Same thing on the other side. All right, perfect. Okay, Gary. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, as I do that, I can be looking at his face. I'm looking for a couple of signs here. I'm going to be looking at his eyes, make sure the sclera is non-icteric. I'm going to take a look at his conjunctiva, pink, exactly how I want it. He doesn't have any molar rash. I'm going to start moving down towards his lip. They're not blue or cyanotic, so I know that he's getting good oxygenation. He doesn't have any growths or any kind of problems on the corner of his mouth for any anemia. I just take one quick look inside, and we always want to assess oral health, so I would ask Gary a few questions about his oral health habits, if he brushes and flosses regularly, because if he doesn't, he can have some problems with his mouth that can lead to an endocardial infection. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to take a little bit closer look at his chest here. I'm going to look for any symmetry. I'm going to see if I can see any heaves, any thrills, anything like that, which I can't. So I'm going to go palpate. I'm going to palpate his pulse, feeling for any heaves apically, and I'm going to move up a little bit here. Okay, great. Everything looks good. So I'm going to auscultate now. I'm going to start at his apex here, which is the 5th intercostal space, mid-clavicular line. I'm just looking for a nice regular pulse there. I'm going to move up here, tricuspid. Okay, very nice. Pulmonary, 2nd intercostal space, left side, then aortic. Okay, when I do that, I'm going to be listening for any murmurs, any friction rubs, anything like that, which I didn't hear any adventitious part sounds, which is great. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have Gary take a few nice deep breaths. At the same time, I'm going to listen right over his aorta and make sure he doesn't have any type of regurgitation. So Gary, if you would, take a few nice deep breaths for me. Okay, that sounds great. Next thing I'm going to do is have him just lean forward a little bit here. I'm going to see if I can listen for any crackles or anything in his bases, which might indicate some sort of pulmonary edema. A few deep breaths for me, Gary. Thank you. All right, perfect. You can relax. Okay, I didn't hear any crackles or wheezes. To further on, I already did a peripheral exam on his upper extremities. I do his lower extremities. Briefly here, I'm just going to look and see if he has any edema, any sorts of pitting edema, which the patient does not. So that is going to end our cardiovascular exam. I'm going to thank my patient here for being here with me.
Am I going to live?
You're going to be great, buddy. Okay, and that's going to complete our exam.